If I could remind everyone of some of the instructions included in the remote meeting protocol. Everyone will be muted, and if you're asked to speak, you unmute yourself, speak, and mute yourself again when you have finished. If you have a question, press the virtual hand on the screen and the chair will then invite you to speak one at a time. Please do not begin speaking until the chair invites you in. If you have a comment to make, you should only raise the virtual hand when the chair asks for comments, and again, you will be invited to speak one at a time. If for any reason a member of the committee has cause to leave the meeting, they must indicate this to the chair before leaving, either by putting a message in the chat or by raising their hand. The case law is clear. You are not allowed to vote if you haven't heard the full debate. If your screen freezes but you have heard the whole debate, you may use your discretion over whether to vote or not. However, if you did not hear the whole debate, then you cannot vote. When it comes to recommendations, we will call out your name and ask you to indicate how you were voting. Before the chair starts the meeting, could I ask all officers and guests who are joining remotely to turn off their cameras so that only committee members are seen on screen? Lastly, we've experienced some difficulties with the system when publishing the agenda this week and want to reassure you that we are in contact with a software provider to investigate. So for this evening's meeting, could we please ask the councillors to refer to the agenda item and the paragraph number rather than the page number?
Please note that today's meeting may be recorded and broadcast on the authority's website. Any person in view of a camera is by virtue attending, consented to being filmed and to the possible use of those images and sound recordings being used as outlined. Democratic Services, can I please ask you to start the recording? Pnawn da, croeso. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council full council meeting on Wednesday, 9th of July 2025. Agenda item 1, apologies for absence.
Here we have Jamie Scriven, Kevin Gibbs, Claire Jones and Michelle Simmons.
Thank you. Councillor Declan Salmon.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Councillor Jeremy Davis sends his apologies.
Councillor Brancarter.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Councillor Darren Roberts is having IT issues at the moment, so he'll be joining as soon as he can. I do believe he's on the phone to IT at this moment.
Thank you. Councillor John Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, apologies for Councillor Julia Jenkins, please.
Thank you. Okay. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Members are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal and prejudicial interest in respect of matters contained in this agenda in accordance with the provisions of the Local Government and Finance Act 1992 relating to the Council Tax, the Local Government Act 2000, the Council's Constitution and the Members' Code of Conduct. Note, members are reminded that they must identify the item number and subject matter that their interest relates to and signify the nature of their personal interest. And where members withdraw from a meeting as a consequence of this disclosure of a prejudicial interest, they must notify the chair when they leave. Councillor Lee Davis.
Item agenda 19, I'm a governor in Penedre. I don't think I need to leave a meeting, but I thought I'd just bring it up.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I'm a governor and a Dre as well, but again, I don't need to leave the meeting.
Thank you. Okay. Items 3 to 7, minutes of previous meetings. These items are to approve and enter into the record the draft minutes of meetings previously circulated to a committee members with a request to confirm accuracy. Do we have a mover?
Happy to move the minutes from 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 on the report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, do we have a seconder, please?
Happy to second, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any comments on the accuracy of the minutes? No? Thank you. We'll take that to the vote then, please.
Councillor Richards, are you for, against or abstaining?
For.
Said for, did he? Okay. Thank you, Councillor Richards. I think Councillor Roberts still hasn't joined. He's Councillor. Okay. Councillor Roberts, are you for, against or abstaining?
I didn't hear, I'm unfortunately I'm an officer, so I'll have to not vote on it then.
Councillor Roberts?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you for, against or abstaining?
I didn't hear the debate. I'm on an officer,
Thank
so
you.
I won't be.
Okay. That's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Agenda item 8, multi-location meetings policy. To consider the report of the Director of Governance and Resources, Councillor Declan Salmon, could I invite you to address the Council, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to let members know, this item has been deferred as we're exploring a number of options which will make us fully compliant. So a report will be brought in the near future, which will also be going to scrutiny. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Do we have a seconder?
Happy to second, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We'll take that to the vote then, please.
Councillor Richards, for, against or abstain?
For.
For. Councillor Roberts, for, against or abstain? Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Fine.
Thank you.
Just a little help in this, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
Very hot.
It is hot. Okay. Agenda item 9, Dog Control Public Spaces Protection Order. To consider the report of the Director of Governance and Resources, Councillor Declan Salmon, could I invite you to address the Council, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In February 2024, Council approved a consultation exercise to be carried out in a proposal to introduce a dog fouling public spaces protection order. The consultation exercise was conducted over a 3-month period and was undertaken online and in person at various locations. The response to the consultation, which can be found as an appendix within this report, showed overwhelming support for the introduction of a PSPO, with over 95% of respondents feeling that dog fouling has a detrimental effect on their community. The dog fouling public spaces protection order will be enforced by the authority's civil enforcement officers, who have agreed, along with unions, to vary their work hours, which will include early mornings, evenings and some weekend work. I'll go straight to the recommendations. 2.1, a public spaces protection order covering all public spaces in the Merthyr Tydfil County Borough and detailed in Appendix 3 and 4 to come into force on the 1st of September 2025 and to last 3 years be approved. Recommendation 2.2, a fixed penalty notice charge for breach of the PSPO of £100 be approved. And 2.3, delegated authority be given to the Head of Public Protection and the Senior Solicitor to carry out all necessary publicity required by virtue of the Anti-Social Behaviour, Crime and Policing Act 2014. Regulations be approved. I so move, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder, please?
Happy to second, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to questions then, please. Any questions from members? Councillor Clive Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've got 3. First one, was there any reason why this policy didn't go to the appropriate scrutiny beforehand?
Maybe I can answer that. It didn't go to scrutiny. You're correct, Councillor Jones. We've done probably 5 PSPOs in the time that those the legislation's enabled that kind of action to be taken, and we haven't gone to scrutiny for any of those previously. I think we just followed the process we've done before. This is a county borough-wide PSBO. There's full consultation with the members of the general public. There's no reason why it can't be deferred today to go to scrutiny, but I think the straightforward answer is we've not done it before and we just followed the same process.
Okay, thanks. My second question is on this dog control public spaces protection order, and it's paragraph 9, financial implications, 9.1. It says there will inevitably be a budgetary impact on the implementation of a dog fouling PSBO, as there will be a requirement for publication, promotion and signage in appropriate locations, for example, dog fouling hotspots and public parks. It says the costs for this are estimated at between 150 and 250 pounds. I don't know what those figures are for. I presume it's something to do with signage. But what's the estimated total cost of implementing this?
Again, I think I'll field this. I am a joint author of the report and I provided the legal input. I didn't deal with the operational side, but that was done by the head of public protection. I contacted him today. He's not in the country, but I did get hold of him. And he said that's the total cost of everything. He mentioned the fact that there would be stick-on signs as opposed to hard signage. It does seem low to me. There's no cost. There used to be a cost of publicising it with newspapers. We can do that now by putting it on our website. Obviously, full publication will have to be given before we start enforcing this, because people won't know this is in existence. So it's going to have to be a regular notifications via social media. As I said, generally it'll be on the website. But then again, because it's county borough-wide, I think we're going to have to concentrate on hotspot areas, parks, to put these signage up. But I can't answer any more than that, Councillor Jones, in that's what I was told by the head of public protection as being the figure that he had in mind, although it does seem rather low to me.
I entirely agree with you through your Madam Mayor. It seems quite low to me. The lower figure is £150, but there we are. I don't know whether you can answer this third question, Simon. I'm sure there's somebody who can. If this report is approved and passed tonight, the civil parking enforcement officers are the ones who will be dealing with the enforcement side of it. And can I give an example? And this was years ago, something I saw. I was dying to stop the car and tell the individual, but I decided to drive on. But if a civil parking enforcement officer sees a member of the public whose dog has defecated on the pavement or whatever, and the owner has walked on, will the civil parking enforcement officer, having seen the fact that the owner hasn't picked up what's been deposited there, will they be booked then in that example case straight away?
I think the issue is being able to extract from that individual the name and address. That's the first problem that we'll have, because our civil parking enforcement officers don't have the right to demand that. I think what we'd have to look at in those circumstances is whether or not, number one, we're given the name and address, and then a fixed penalty will be issued. My assumption, and maybe Ryan can help me here, but my assumption is if somebody is challenged and they said, your dog defecated, you didn't pick it up, that's in breach of the PSPO, can we name and address, please? I think it's then brought back to the office and the FPN will be issued from the office, okay?
Right.
I don't think we're going to have officers with FPN notepads as traditionally was the case. I think things have moved on from that. I don't think the police do that anymore either. But I don't know whether or not Ryan can add anything to that. Ryan?
Yeah, just to clarify, like Simon just said, if they do give their name and address, it'll be done by the post then, and then they can follow the procedures, phoning in to pay it, coming in to pay it, and things like that. Obviously, Simon mentioned if they're asking for name and address, we will be using everything at our disposal to get that, should they refuse or not comply. obviously where we've got CCTV footprint available to us, we'll also be looking for things like vehicles, registrations. There's ways and means of obtaining details if they're not complying then ultimately.
Thank you. I wish you every success in that respect, because through you, Madam Mayor, if an individual is not on camera and refuses to give a name and address, somebody somewhere, you know, will have to try and do a tracing job. So we're on a difficult task with that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Andrew Barry, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's not the policy that's important here, it's the enforcement of that policy. And my question relates to the finance around that. And if you allow me a little bit of leeway, I just want to ask a question about this afternoon in the Cabinet, where they, I'm presuming they approved the revenue outturn. So I want to ask the Cabinet member, were there any amendments to that report, and did that go through?
No amendments have been made. The enforcement is going to be done by the enforcement officers as part of their normal work. It's just an add-on thing they have to do, which does place extra work on them, but it will be part of their role, and it has been agreed by the unions as well, and that's why they've changed the timings as well.
Okay.
And it will be, it will also be intelligence-led. So the more people that go on the council website, complain about dog fouling, will mean that the enforcement officers will patrol those areas more often.
Excellent, excellent. Just a follow-up. The reason I asked that question is because this afternoon that outturn was agreed then by Cabinet, and in that outturn, apparently the provisional net revenue surplus was £199,000 million, which is 899 billion pounds in any other terms, which I'm sure the residents of Merthyr will be over the moon at, really, because when you consider this Labour government have just sold the Chagos Islands and rented them back for 30 billion, then £899 billion for our little council is a fantastic sum, and to be applauded in the 6 months that Labour have been in power.
Where is your question, Councillor Barry?
The question comes to, if that's the case, we clearly have no financial issues to enforce this. But coming back to it, the wardens that are to be used for this are dependent on SPF money. We have no guarantee of that SPF money as we speak. And I just think, is it prudent to be introducing a policy now and enforce that policy when at a later date that may not be possible because we won't have the finance to support the wardens to be in place? Isn't it better to wait for clarity on the SPF money so that we have surety that into the future we will have that enforcement in place rather than to have to take it away once we've started?
Andrew? I don't think we can give clarity on the amount of SPF that we're going to get, and I don't think any council can. And when this went out to consultation, 95% of residents stated that dog fouling was an issue, and it was something that they wanted to see something done about. So I think we need to bring it in, but I think we are going to look at this in 3 months and 6 months' time, you know, to make sure it's working and to see where we go from there. And I'm quite sure it will be looked at in scrutiny as well.
As long as we can afford it, and that's the thing.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, thank you. Councillor David Isaacs, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I take you to the exemptions on page 48 and see a person who has a disability which affects their mobility, manual dexterity, physical coordination, or ability to lift, carry, or otherwise move everyday objects, such as they cannot reasonably be expected to remove the feces, or a person who has some other disability, such as they cannot reasonably be expected to remove the feces. I'm just wondering, I'll take you back to an example that happened to me this year. I damaged my back and was unable to pick it up. So, say I was caught, how would I prove that I was unable to pick this up? Some have said it's a doctor's note, but we want to know how long would the person be given to produce this doctor's note, knowing how long it takes to get in to see the doctor?
Isaac, just so everyone knows exactly where we are, could you refer us to the paragraph number? Because, as I said at the start, we are having difficulties with page numbers.
It's exemptions, it says.
Yeah.
Section 5, page 46 on
Were you asking that question of Councillor Isaacs?
Of Simon.
I can answer that question. You'll see that the exemptions are there, and the exemptions are for the individual to prove themselves. So my understanding of the process would be somebody is seen in. I think what we got to remember, we got to adopt a common sense way of approaching this. Anyway, in the field, okay. So if somebody is clearly struggling to pick up the dog feces, I think the enforcement officer has to make a judgment call there and then. So that'll be the first point. If they issue if they take the name and address and they say, okay, you're going to get a fixed penalty, we would then issue that from the office. They can appeal that fixed penalty, and at that point, they would say, I want to appeal a fixed penalty because I comply with one of these exemptions. And we'd say, okay, you have to prove that. As you say, you'd have to get a doctor's note, really, or whether they got something that they can show from a pre-existing condition that we would consider. But the fixed penalty wouldn't be enforced until that part of the process is concluded. So if they're not giving us that because they're not trying, or they say, oh, I can't get an appointment for a month, then we would, common sense would say you'd wait for a month and then go to the next stage. If they haven't paid the fixed penalty, then you've got to prosecute. But it's for them to prove, and I think it all comes down to being sensible the way we approach this from day one. Okay. The officers on the field and the officers in the office.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Clive Tevy, please.
Whilst I agree with the report, I was wondering what the policy was on the replacement of bins. We've got 2 bins in Vane Ward. One was taken away when they were doing the road. It's on the Taft Trail. And there's another bin in...
Councillor Tevy, that's the next report.
Hmm?
It's a different report, bins.
Oh, right. Oh, it's dog fouling. The dog fouling bins I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've got a bin policy at agenda item number 11, which should cover that, Clive.
Okay. Councillor Geraint-Thomas, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question goes back to enforcement, and it's paragraph 7.1. The current enforcement team, the civil enforcement officers, right, how many have we currently got in place?
So we've got 6 full-time enforcement officers and 1 full-time team leader.
Thank you very much. So can I ask a supplementary question, Madam Mayor? So, you know, they're going to cover the whole borough on many different facets of work. So it's bound to have an effect, you know, on what else they do. So after the 6 months that Councillor Salmon alluded to then, you know, period of work, could a report come back, perhaps to scrutiny, to see how they are performing and how has it affected other pieces of work? Because, you know, doing FPNs for dog fouling, they could be losing on parking tickets as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really good idea. Obviously, as you alluded to, we've picked up parking enforcement as well recently. So it's an exercise we do monthly, is to collate numbers, particularly when it comes to parking and parking enforcement, just to see how that's been affected in terms of incorporating it into the wider duties then. So I think that's a good idea, yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Lisa Mitten, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's just a quick one from me. Oh, hello. Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's just a quick question from me. This report, I understand the consultation finished in May 2024. My understanding was this report was due to come before Council in October 2024. I'm just wondering what the 9-month delay is or was, because that does allude to the fact, the query that Councillor Barry had regarding SPF funding and the longevity of sustaining these roles. So I'm just wondering, was there any particular reason why we're 9 months later, reason that report was didn't go through in October last year? That's what I'm trying to say. Thanks.
Yeah, I believe some of the delay was initially the enforcement wardens were brought on typically for the town centre, and predominantly that was their day-to-day business. And then when they settled in over a number of months, they started working their way out into the county borough. And during that time as well, they've obviously taken in parking enforcement. So I think there's a few things at play, which then delayed this coming in then.
Yeah, thanks, Rai. Because inevitably they were originally employed to cover the town centre area, aren't they? You know, we may be the smallest local authority, but we're pretty widespread. So I'm I fully support it, Dec, but just wondering how we're actually going to be able to enforce it with the trails and pavements and estates, especially where we have some of these big concerns regarding dog fouling, you know.
So, yeah, it's a really good question. In terms of how they operate, they're a multi-skilled officer. So, for example, if we're all the way down Bedlinog, Trearis, and down that end of the valley, they're set up in a way they're equipped as a multi-skilled officer. They can carry out all their duties. So if they've gone down there on intelligence, there's community safety and antisocial behaviour issues. However, there's 10 cars parked inappropriately.
They can do a
They're equipped to just jump on, deal with that parking there and then. They haven't got to be booked on a parking enforcement shift, or with this as well. We're not going to book them on a dog enforcement shift. It'll be a multi-skill shift.
Yeah.
It may be we'll be tasked to certain areas, evidence-led, but anything we're coming across that's within our power, we're able to jump on. I think, like Declan said as well, we're very much evidence-led. We do morning briefings. We welcome information off elected members and residents. And I think we'll work that way because it's a big task.
Yeah, thank you, Rai. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor David Hughes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question is about the cost. I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see this report. To be honest, it was a good report. However, when we said about the cost, I think it's £200. I know the unions have been consulted, but are they going to pay the workers shift allowance? I would have thought if they work in different hours, there would be shift allowance be involved.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, so as Declan's mentioned, we're currently working on a model of voluntary basis. So with members of staff, generally any time between 7 AM and 8 PM. And when you stick between those times, you don't accrue then any late fees. So if you go after the 8 o'clock mark, that's where it goes to sort of time and a third. So we're working on a voluntary basis at the minute. The contracts do mention in them occasional flexible working. So we're working on voluntary. So things like, you know, if it's a Saturday, we'll be flexible in terms of if evidence is not pointing towards the need for a full day, but we can turn up and do sort of a half shift across 2 Saturdays. We'll be evidence-led, first of all, but we're working voluntary. But it's something we're keeping a close eye on and working with just to monitor how are we achieving it, basically.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Geraint-Thomas, please.
Sorry to come back in with a late question, Madam Mayor, but SPF money's been mentioned already, and we know we've only got that till the end of March, and hopefully we'll have it more money in the future. But what about the long-term plans for towns' monies? Because back in my day when I was leading cabinet, we were talking about having community safety teams out of that, and perhaps have a town centre, centric team for the town. But is there any plans of using any money for teams going forward?
Yeah, if I just take that, obviously that would have to go before the town's board then in terms of making a proposition. Is that something they want to invest? We can certainly have that discussion in terms of how we go forward. It's just with the uncertainty, with the delay in terms of clarity on that programme at the moment, that town board hasn't met yet. But obviously once that gets back up and running, that is something that could be discussed with them certainly. Whether they want to do that or what they want to do with the funding, obviously it's a discussion for them. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. I'm purposely leaving Councillor Declan Salmon out because I believe he'll close the debate. So, Councillor Clive Jones.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a question for clarification. Under paragraph 8, next steps, 8.3, it says, allow sufficient time for the PSPO to be publicised and for the signage to be prepared and cited. It is proposed that the PSPO would not come into force until the 1st of September 25. But if I can refer members and officers to the actual order which is with these papers, that's the Anti-Social Behaviour, Crime and Policing Act 214, Public Spaces Protection Order, Dog Fouling, 2025, the order in brackets. When you look at paragraph 1, it says this order shall come into operation on the 1st of August 25.
Yeah, that's just a draft order. I think it was prepared when we thought this was going to come before Council slightly earlier than it has. That can be changed to the 1st of September. The reason for the delay is, as you said, it's not a delay. We've got to put the signage up. We've got to publicise. But also the public have the right to object to the PSPO. They have 6 weeks to do that application to the High Court. Hopefully that wouldn't happen, but that's got to be factored in as well. That can be changed.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Councillor Declan Salmon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It was just I was going to answer Geraint's earlier question, to be honest, and it's in regards to FPNs. I just wanted to say that it's not about the number of FPNs that are issued. It's about the end product, that our streets get cleaner and there's a behaviour change. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So, any more questions? We'll move to comments then, please. Councillor Geraint Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think we all welcome this. It's well overdue. As you can see from the responses on the consultation from the Cyfarthfa ward, our ward that myself and Councillor Michelle Jones and Claire Jones represent, it's a massive response. And it's a blight. It's a blight in our communities. And I do agree with Councillor Salmon. I think just having the PSP order in place will deter people, right, from leaving dog mess on the pavement. So, yeah, totally support it. And I hope we have, the money in the future to carry on teams and extend the numbers as well, so we can fully enforce it properly. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Anna Williams-Price, please.
Thank you. Yes, I'd also like to welcome the proposal and the report, and I'm really pleased to see progress after the public consultation that concluded last year. I think there is transparency within this report about the risk to deliver this in the long term. However, this does send a clear message that it's not acceptable to be a responsible dog owner and to let your dog foul and not clear it up. All councillors will want to understand the impact on their wards, and it's right that we monitor that moving forward and understand that impact across the borough so we can develop this proposal moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Clive Jones, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I fully support this report. It's long overdue. I frankly think there is a sheer frustration on behalf of the public that very little has been able to be done when they see dog owners allowing their dogs to foul anywhere and everywhere. The majority of dog owners are responsible, but there's that group, frankly, in my view, who couldn't care less. When I started reading the report, I didn't realise there was 130 pages of the individual comments I have to say, I didn't read the 130. I just read about the first three or four, and you could see the way that the public were reacting to it. Yes, we'll have tweaks to the enforcement, but at least the enforcement will be there and it'll be publicised. And if people in the parks, for example, we can point to the notice to say, you shouldn't be doing that.
Thank you. Councillor Lisa Bitton, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple of things. I look forward to having one of these stickers outside my house. I declare an interest right now, as an owner of 2 dogs, to stop the lovely lady that lets her dog do dog fouling on my front garden. But there we are, so I look forward to that. And to those wonderful dog owners, those wonderful dog owners who think the fairy is going to come along the Taff Trail and pick the bags out of the trees. So that's another one. I just wanted to support my colleague, my colleague Councillor Clive Tyree was alluding to the comments within the body of this report. A lot of it mentions the Taff Trail. We have requested several times 2 bins to be replaced, not new, but to be replaced, but we'll bring that up in a later agenda item. But that's where we were going with that, Clive, wasn't it? Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Andrew Barry, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I fully support this. You know, it's been a long time coming, and I think I do have concerns about the longevity of it, and that I really hope we're able to continue funding the solutions for this, because it is important that is a critical element of it. And it's not just where, you know, we want our parks, but I think we need to spend particular attention on playing fields, because that is a really dangerous area to let your dog do it when we've got our kids playing there. And it does concern me there's only £150 to £200 put aside for signage, because I think all of those areas need considerable signage to let them know we mean business about this. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Declan Salmon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's just quickly, it is to thank Paul Lewis, Simon Jones and Ryan Evans for putting the report together, answering all questions tonight. And there's a lot of work gone into this as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right then, we'll take it to the vote.
Councillor Richards, are you for, against or abstaining?
A very definite for.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts, are you for, against or abstaining?
For.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, that's carries, Chair.
Thank you. Agenda item 10, local resolution process. To consider the report of the Director of Governance and Resources, Councillor Declan Salmon, can I invite you to address the Council?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Local resolution process, or what is also referred to in the report as a local resolution protocol. The reporting protocol was previously put before full council on the 11th of June 2025, with the matter deferred to tonight's full council for amendments to be made on the protocol. The Public Services Ombudsman for Wales reviewed all local resolution protocols last year because of concerns with those protocols across the country. Because of those concerns, a monitoring officers group was established to make recommendations on a model local resolution protocol. Although a resolution wasn't produced, a number of key concerns were addressed to ensure that there would be no confusion in the future. A revised local resolution protocol for the Council has been drafted in line with the recommendations of that working group. And this protocol aims to promote good cooperation between councillors and officers and exemplary standards of behaviour, thus allowing the council to carry out its duties efficiently and professionally. Just to clarify, one of the most important points that came out of this was to highlight that complaints can be referred to the Ombudsman at any stage. The one recommendation is the revised local resolution protocol be approved and adopted. I so move, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder, please?
Happy to second, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And we'll move on to questions. Any questions from members, please? Councillor Geraint-Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Unfortunately, on the modern.gov, I haven't got the appendices now there for this policy. They came separately. But in there, it mentions that if a councillor complains about an officer, the chief executive deals with it, but it doesn't show what that process would be. and maybe something else, something offline that we could talk about and what that looks like, if possible, because I know this is definitely for the members' side of things.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Then we'll go on to comments then, please. No comments? We'll take it to the vote then, please.
Councillor Richards, are you for, against or abstaining?
For.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts, are you for, against or abstaining?
For.
Thank you. That's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Agenda item 11, bin policy. To consider the report of the Director of Neighbourhood Services, Deputy Leader Councillor David Jones, could I invite you to address the Council, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before I make the presentation of the report, I'd just like to introduce something. The bin installations scoring scheme has been updated. The updated version was shared with councillors via email yesterday and a supplement added to the internet and app. Whilst the format looks different, the only amendments in detail relate to an additional item at proximity to facilities less than 20 metres of a watercourse, and in the logistics section, safe stopping location for empty and bin within 20 metres of the bin. The primary objective of this bin policy is to introduce a standardised approach to bin allocation and replacement when requests for bins are received. If adopted, the policy will ensure that all bin-related queries are dealt with in a fair, transparent and consistent manner, and will ensure efficient use of MTCBC resources. The Environmental Protection Act 1990 places a duty on all local authorities to ensure that public highways and other land they are responsible for, such as parks and open spaces, are kept clear of litter and refuse. In MTCBC, this service is carried out by street scene, by litter picking and street cleansing operations to ensure we comply with the legislation as far as practicable. Litter and dog waste bins are not a statutory requirement, and the Council are not duty-bound to provide them to the current extent. Keep Wales Tidy have advocated a bin policy that uses a comprehensive scoring system to ensure consistency of bin allocations. Section 4 highlights that the previous unregulated process for determining bin locations has resulted in disproportionate distribution across wards. Should the increase in demand for new bins continue, then it will exceed the Council's ability to provide the current level of service, resulting in longer times between bins being emptied. Appendix 1, Section 3 includes the new bin request process and criteria, and Section 4 deals with the maintenance and emptying, standard maintenance, vandalised or problematic bins, and ongoing viability assessment. All bins will be subject to inspection at the time of emptying by our staff. The later version of Appendix 2, which councillors have received by email, shows the proposed scoring system for the new bin policy. Subject to questions and comments, I move the recommendation at 2.1 that the MTCBC bin policy be approved. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder, please?
I second that, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We'll move to questions then, please. Councillor Geraint-Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've only got a couple of questions. In 4.5, it says council officers will work with ward councillors and members of the public to ensure that existing bins are located in the areas to maximise litter capture. As Mark knows, I've been trying to set up a meeting for months, to meet with a member of staff to look at the bin placement. So how soon could we expect these meetings to take place?
Again, sorry, we've been waiting for the policy to be approved. If it is approved tonight, then obviously we can start setting the meetings as soon as practically possible.
Thank you, Mark. Second question is, again, in the Cyfarthfa ward, the council hasn't got much land available to them. Merthyr Valley Homes are currently building 40 plus houses at Winebant, and they've come to us as local councillors and said, look, you can place a bid on our land. Now, there's not one in the area whatsoever, and it would be a great spot for it. How would that fare in the scoring system?
Again, as I say, it's the scoring system is there for a purpose. Obviously, we'll have to look at the location. It'll be subject to a LEAMS inspection first, so that'll be done for a 4-weekly period to establish whether there is a litter issue there. If there is, then obviously we move on to the bin scoring system, and the relevant information that scoring system then would be applied. Yeah.
The problem is it's not our land, is it? That's the issue.
It's not, as I say, it's not our land. So again, where we've had permission to put the bin, or a landowner's given permission, is something we can consider.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Clive Jones, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. 2 questions. First one is, being consistent, is there any reason why this policy didn't come before the appropriate scrutiny committee?
From my understanding, it went to a scrutiny members workshop. So it went to a workshop where scrutiny members were in attendance, and it was based around the scoring system. So that scrutiny committees were consulted through that process, and then a report was sent to committee based on that meeting.
I think we probably have to agree to disagree on that. You're right that there was a workshop. I don't know how long ago that was, but this is the final policy. And my view is that the final policy should have gone to a scrutiny committee. My second question is tied up with what Councillor Geraint Thomas asked on 4.5. As I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, but officers have been and will be looking at where all these bins are to rationalise where they perhaps should be. So when will that exercise completely finish?
Sorry, it'll be an ongoing process. So where we get a request from a councillor through a member of the public to look at the position for a bin, that's when that process is not going to be a total review. There's going to be an ongoing review. Then we'll deal with it as and when it's required.
I've probably misunderstood then what was meant in this report, because I was under the impression that you're looking at where every bin is, and if it's in the view of the officers, it's in the wrong place, that they would be recited elsewhere. Am I wrong?
No, as I say, the purpose of the bin policy is to identify where bins are. So we've done that through a bin mapping process. So we know where all the bins are. So again, there's an issue with distribution. So what we intend to do is, as requests for bins come in, we'll evaluate the site where that bin request is for, and then if there is deemed to be a bin required in that location, then we will look throughout the authority for a bin that we could move to that area.
Yeah, but there will be, through you, Madam Mayor, there will be consultation on removing that bin to someone else.
Consultation will be with the member in the relevant member. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Clive Tuvey, please.
Oh, it's the issue of replacement of bins. In Vane Ward, we've got 2 bins that are missing. One up by Vane Quarry got rusted away and just broke. And the second one's on the Taft Trail by St John's Church, and that was removed by the A4 Future Valley Construction. We've sent some emails in, but we've not heard anything back. Are these likely to be... They're not extra bins, they're replacement bins.
As I explained earlier, what we'll do, as I say, as part of a process, when a member such as yourself, if you write in and ask us for a bin to go in a certain location, we'll go out and assess it, And if there is a requirement, if the bin scoring system says the bin there, we look to move a bin from a different place to that area. So it's not a no, it's just a case of we need to assess if there's a requirement for the bin in that location.
Oh, thanks.
Councillor Gareth Richards, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's a question for Mark, it is, regarding the matrix. As part of the matrix, Mark, I think one of the areas are number of residents who request a bin, and I'm talking specifically about dog fouling bins. My understanding is that the website used to say any request for dog fouling bins goes back to the councillor. Is that going to be altered?
Sorry, do I need to? Sorry, no, there's no plans to alter that, councillor.
Yeah. So, but how do residents then request a bin, a dog fouling bin specifically I'm referring to, when they are told on the website that if you want a dog fouling bin, you go back to your councillor?
Well, yes, there is the option for individuals to ring in using the reported system, or there's the street scene telephone number that they can contact people through, and obviously we can consider that. Once we get that report, we'll go back to the councillor to discuss it with the councillor.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Councillor David Isaac, please.
Thanks very much. When we're talking about replacement bins, how far back are we going? Because Pindarren itself had bins stolen and removed. It's been a matter of years now. We have been trying to get them replaced. But how long are we talking about replacement bins? As I said, it's been a matter of years that we've been trying to get some replacement bins.
And again, it'll be based on that scoring system. So once we get the request from you, say for example from yourselves, we can take that forward. It'll be, are you looking for the period it'll take us to get it through, or?
Yeah, I'm looking for the period it'll take to get it through, but these bins have been missing 18 months, 2 years,
right, okay.
And we still haven't had the replacements put in place, you know.
Again, so before we replace, we'll have to assess, and then there's obviously it's in the procedure it tells how long it's going to be. So I think we'll have to do we'll do a LEAMS inspection first. So that takes between 4 and 6 weeks, and then there's the bin scoring. That'll take a couple of weeks. So it'll be 2 or 3 months before we can get the bin in place.
Thanks very much.
Okay, any further questions? I will move on to comments then, please. Any comments from members? Councillor Anna Williams-Price, please.
Thank you. Again, another report I welcome, and councillors have obviously raised multiple issues related to this topic and how it will relate specific to their own ward. So again, as with the PSPO order, I think we do need proper review and scrutiny of how this policy works in practice. But for me, it's very much the start of the process, not an end point. And it's something we can look to develop in time. But just to pick up on Councillor Richards' point, I do feel that part of that would need to be a review of messaging on our own website to ensure that the public are very clear about this process. So we're all, officers, members and residents, can all be on the same page with regards to the process.
Thank you. Councillor Scott Thomas, please.
Yes, sorry, Madam Mayor. I just want to apologise for my abrupt exit. I had to deal with an urgent matter, and therefore I won't be voting on this item.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor David Jones, please. Oh, no?
Yeah, if I speak, I close it off. I'd just like to say thank you to Mark and his team for completing works that started a very long time ago with this bin policy, and I'm glad to see that we've got to where we are today. And again, thank you very much.
Okay, then let's take it to the vote, please.
Councillor Richards, are you for, against or abstaining?
For.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts, are you for, against or abstaining?
For.
Thank you. That's carried, Chair.
Okay, lovely, thank you. Okay, then on to agenda item 12, engineering structure. To consider the report of the Director of Neighbourhood Services, Deputy Leader, Councillor David Jones, can I invite you to address the Council, please?
Thank you again, Madam Mayor. Going back to February 2020, Merthyr Tydfil and South Wales were hit by several significant rainfall events. Storm Ciara, Dennis and George affected Merthyr Tydfil in a few short weeks. Storm Dennis was found to be a 1 in a 200-year event, far exceeding the design specification used by MTCBC, and indeed most UK design teams. And 51 recovery schemes were identified, which took 4 years to complete. 2 months after the final Storm Dennis schemes were completed, further flooding occurred due to Storm Bert in November 2024, which was followed by Storm Dara a few weeks later. Due to excellent design and implementation of the flood defences schemes following Storm Dennis, the impacts of the later floods were greatly reduced. That said, the consensus from climate change scientists is that these events will become more frequent and possibly more severe. Over the same period, the engineering department dealt with many landslide issues around Pont Sticyll, Pont Sarn and Hwlgerig, a culvert collapse at Nant Morlas, a culvert blockage at Pentrabach, and several water and sewer pipe fractures across the county borough. These issues highlight the need for extra resources within the engineering department. Indeed, if it were not for the commitment of our dedicated staff, things could have been so much worse. At this point, I would like to say a particular thank you to our Head of Engineering, Mr. Carwyn Morris, for the way he took on each challenge to produce the best outcomes for Merthyr Tydfil and our residents. Appendix 1 starts by highlighting the many and varied day-to-day duties carried out by the department, and goes on to add that new legislation has been introduced since 2019 around coal tip safety, reservoirs and other matters that have implications for Merthyr Tydfil and our residents. This new legislation has put pressure on the department. This report proposes that 2 new posts are created at principal grade that will provide high-level expertise to the engineering department to ensure that the department can meet immediate demands and future challenges. This will also remove some single points of dependency, ensure business continuity and promote succession planning for the future. The existing and proposed structures are also shown in Appendix 1, where the benefits of approving this proposal are obvious and, in my opinion, necessary. So, Madam Mayor, subject to questions and comments, I would like to move the recommendation at 2.1 that the additional budget outlined in paragraph 4.1 of the report be approved. Thank you.
Do we have a seconder, please?
Madam Mayor, happy to second.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to questions then, please. Councillor Clive Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question relates to paragraph 3.3 of the report, and it says the proposed 2 posts are Principal Structures Chartered Engineer, Grade 11, and Principal Highway Engineer, Grade 9. Could I ask, probably Carwyn, I think you'll be able to answer this question. These are very senior level officers, and we have several local authorities very close to us. How confident are you that you'll be able to get the required level of applicants for these positions? And if you don't get suitable applicants, what is your next course of action?
I think, as I've alluded to, really within the business case and the report, that we've had difficulty over the years in recruiting, but I believe that these grades gives us a chance and an opportunity to try and recruit the level that we need, really, that's required. So I haven't really got a backup plan at the minute if we can't recruit. So we'll put the advert out and we'll see what applications we get.
But these 2 posts are essential because one of them is a deputy to yourself, and we all know how hard-working you are, but you need a deputy for a start.
Yeah, definitely. The principal structures engineer is definitely needed for support. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Councillor Geraint-Thomas, please.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, welcome the report. You know, it's well overdue. You do need a little bit of a support there, you know, just a little bit, right? But you definitely need support. So I hope you fill those posts. But my question is now towards the future, and how are we going to future-proof your area? You know, is there any plan to take on any graduates, apprentices? We know we've got some already in the team, but are there any future plans for any more to grow our own, really?
If really those sort of positions rely on sort of grant funding, so absolutely, if we can continue to get grant funding from Welsh Government for various things, whether it's coal tip safety or 20 mile an hour, the grants that we've used in the past, then absolutely we'll look to bring in graduates or use the apprenticeship scheme.
Great, thank you.
Councillor Andrew Barry, please.
Madam Mayor, first of all, I absolutely support this, and it is long overdue. You've worked till you're out on your feet, we've all seen that, so well done to the efforts you put in, but this is absolutely needed. The first thing I'll say, before I go to the question, is that the response to the work of the storms that Councillor Jones alluded to is being done in Rhondda, in Cynon Valley, in Merthyr, in Rumney. I've always said it needs a regional response to this because it's a regional problem, and for us to try and solve it on an individual basis in Merthyr by clearing our culverts, and a fantastic job has been done, it just means Ponty will get flooded again and again the more efficient we become in our valleys. In terms of the question is a very simple question. Where's the money coming from to pay for this?
Thank you for the question. Obviously, this, if approved by Council today, for the following financial year will be a prioritised growth item, and it will be included in the medium-term financial plan. This year, if I can just refer members to the 3.8, in current year we have paid, and in previous years we paid significant amount of cost for the agency labour. By having additional resilience, we will avoid those costs, and therefore that will reduce the budget requirements and the overspends that have been reported in previous years. And we will also, if required, draw down on budget reserve in 25-26 to fund these additional posts and additional capacity in this critical area for the local authority.
Okay, any comments, please? Councillor Lisa Mitten, please.
Thank you. Well, I don't want to embarrass him, but he will know via phone, text, and in meetings in front of his officer, his manager, I should say, in front of the leader and the chief executive, I have been more than vocal about the support our officer, Carwyn, actually needs, having trudged through mud, snow, rain, wind, water, etc. And he has always been there to support me and my colleague Clive Tivy with our ward issues during a number of different storms, but during other concerns as well when I've been walking and we've talked about bridges and blast furnaces and everything. So I wholeheartedly welcome this. Thank you so much for supporting it, bringing the report. I hope recruitment goes smoothly, Carwyn, because it's such an important role and duty and department that we have, not neglecting others, but this one really has some heavy projects, forthcoming projects, and you know, we can never tell what the weather is going to be, but you know, you do need that support. So thank you so much for bringing this, and thank you for all that you do in supporting me and Clive, and you and your colleagues, I should say. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Geraint-Thomas, please.
I'm embarrassing a bit more now as well, I think. No, just to say, you know, Car, thank you and the team for all the work you've done. You know, I've seen you out in the middle of the night helping your neighbours, you know, in your street. So, you know, just thank you, you know, for everything, and you definitely need the support. And I just want to say, you know, to add really to what Councillor Jones said earlier about the storms we're having at the moment. You know, everyone's seen the shocking news in Texas, and we feel, you know, for the American people at the moment, could be up to over 200 people, 300 people have died, in flooding that they've never experienced before. And I read something yesterday about Builth Wells in July, about 150 years ago, and about 10 people died in massive floods there and hail. And that was the middle of July, so you never know what's coming around the corner. So I think, yes, we need to be prepared and we need these engineers. Thank you.
Councillor Declan Salmon, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it's a Carwyn Morris Appreciation Club tonight. I think I can speak on behalf of my ward colleagues, Paula Layton and Councillor David Hughes. We've all witnessed the pressure Carwyn has been under the last few years, to be honest, and especially since December 2024 with Nant Morlais. And it's been relentless, to be honest, for the last few years. So I hope this goes through tonight to take pressure off Carwyn and also make sure that we don't just have the one single point of dependency. You get the help you need. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Gareth Richards, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's just to echo from the south of the borough our appreciation for Carwyn and his team, really. I know when we had issues, he was always ready at the end of the phone at certainly out of hours times. So I thoroughly support this recommendation to add support to the team and assist Carwyn in his task.
Thank you very much. Councillor David Jones, please.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to add a comment to Craig's point that the funding be available. But what it also means is that this, if it goes to plan and we get the 2 engineers as planned, the service will be in-house and will be easier to access, and we can get on with things that little bit quicker as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll take it to the vote then, please.
Councillor Richards, are you for, against or abstaining?
For.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts, are you for, against or abstaining? Councillor Roberts? Appear to have lost Councillor Roberts. Okay.
You won't be able to vote then?
No. That's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, on to agenda item 13, Digital Strategy 2025 to 2028, to consider the report of the Director of Finance. Councillor Anna Williams-Price, could I invite you to address the Council, please?
Thank you, Chair. So this report outlines the Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council's digital strategy for 25-28, and the strategy sets out a forward-thinking vision for how digital services will be used to support and transform council services over the next 3 years. It's been developed in alignment with the Welsh Government's digital strategy and also informed by best practice guidance from Audit Wales. It focuses on priorities such as digital inclusion, process improvement, data and analytics, infrastructure, cybersecurity, and also workforce development. The strategy has been to the relevant scrutiny committee for debate and discussion, and that committee was happy to bring forward to a full council today. And ultimately, the strategy reflects a commitment to delivering efficient, inclusive and future-ready services for both residents and staff. So I'll go to the recommendations, please bear with me, which is 2.1, the implementation of the digital strategy 2025 to 2028 be approved.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder, please?
Happy to second the recommendation, Madam Mayor.
Okay, we'll go on to questions then, please. Any questions? No questions? Move on to comments then, please. No comments? We'll take it to the vote then, please.
Richards, are you for, against or abstaining?
For.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts, I understand you sent a message through to say you hadn't heard the whole debate?
No, that was the last agenda.
The previous item, thank you. Okay.
I queued all this one.
Sorry.
4.
4, thank you. That's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Agenda item 14, fly tipping policy. To consider the report of the Directors of Governance and Resources and Neighbourhood Services. Councillor Declan Salmon, can I invite you to address the Council, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just before I go on to this, I should have done it earlier. I want to thank Simon Jones for all the work he did on the local resolution process. I know there's quite a bit in there. Okay, right, flight tipping policy. Following a 99-page flight tipping task and finish group report, which was written by elected members, a meeting was held with officers to discuss its recommendations, and following that meeting it was agreed that an officer working group be set up to make a start in implementing a new flight tipping policy. A lot of work, which is detailed within this report, has been done to get to this current flight tipping policy, but that work won't stop there, as there will continue to be monthly steering groups with external partners, and of course I'm sure this item in this agenda will continue to go back to the relevant scrutiny committees to make recommendations. On the subject of recommendations, this report went in front of the thriving Merthyr Tydfil Scrutiny Committee on the 24th of June, and a number of recommendations were made, which I would like to update elected members on. In relation to the procedure flow charts, update the wording relating to visit to ensure greater clarity on what will happen. This has been done, and it's actually in the report now and has been changed. The second recommendation, include further information, potentially as an appendix, or communicate information publicly on which bodies are responsible for certain areas, for example, forestry, riverbanks, railways, etc. Just to tell members that this will be done as part of the communications following adoption of this policy, if it is adopted tonight. Recommendation 3 from the committee was confirm or clarify the timescale with regard to private landowners' process. The letter, which has been drafted by the legal department to send to private landowners, states that it must be addressed within 28 days of the date on that letter. And then the fourth recommendation and last one was, although not directly linked to the policy or report, reviewing the current online reporting system so that more than one photo can be included in a report, and whether the mapping system can be improved and potentially use what 3 words. This will be picked up by the steering group as part of their monthly meetings. Okay, there's just one recommendation. I'm going to go to it. The report Appendix 2 outlining policy changes / amendments on how flight tipping could be managed on council land and private land to be approved. I so move, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder, please?
Happy to second, Madam Mayor.
Okay, lovely. Thank you. Any questions, please? Councillor Clive Jones.
Yes, Councillor Sam is right. This did go to the appropriate scrutiny committee. I want to make just 100% certain in this particular question, because it refers to the fact that I think for the first time ever, we'll be able to go on to deal with fly tipping and excessive litter on private land. I just want to make 100% certain that includes private, commercial, industrial estates, because we've got one, more than one in my ward, but there is an issue with excessive litter that's been left there for months, and we can't seem to get to the owner to get it, accept his or her responsibility to clear it up.
Yeah, just to confirm, Councillor, yeah, that is the case. Where we can identify the registered landowner, we will engage as outlined in the policy.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Lisa Mitten, please.
Thank you. I just this week had an incident where an officer has been trying to help me, but it's on Merthyr Council land leased to a rugby club. The land, a playing field, was broken into and a significant amount of fly tipping was disposed of there. And when I was trying to go down to the flow chart on Appendix 2 regarding public stroke council land, I think there's a little bit of grey area here, because when we're looking at the lease documentation, it says keep the area clean of rubbish. And when we look at the descriptors, rubbish could be a black bag, it could be a couple of cans after a rugby match, etc. But this is significant. It's going to take a lorry to get rid of this fly tipping. But we've had to go back to the rugby club and say, no, the lease says any fly tipping you have to dispose of. My ask was, well, could we not work in partnership with them to assist them in that, even if we charge them something, you know, because we have the vehicles and the know-how and the safety gloves and goggles, etc., and we should be investigating it. And I think perhaps there's just a little bit of grey area here with that isn't here in black and white, and I think perhaps we need to revisit that. I don't know if Scrutiny brought that up, but I think that's something that we should support and work in partnership to help clear a playing field in. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Nobody can answer that.
Answer?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Of course, the devil's in the detail, as you said. You know, on the face of it, the leaseholder is responsible, but you've got to go back to the lease. So I think every single case on its own merits. You know, we have to look at them, and clearly, in some circumstances, working together will be the most appropriate option. It's not black and white. None of these cases are black and white.
No, thanks, Si. And I think that's what I've done now. I've gone back to the officers and said, look, have a look at the lease agreement. Can we send the committee a copy? Because if it clearly says fly tipping, then fair enough, you know, and it gives me a bit of extra help as the local councillor to say, guys, sorry, you've got to get rid of it, type of thing. But also just that opportunity to work in partnership to help clear it, you know, because people don't necessarily have the resources to, and when they do go, yes, when they do go to some of these people who advertise on Facebook, they're the fly tippers. You know, they say, give me a tenner and I'll clear it, type of thing. So thanks, I have gone back and we'll have a look at it on its individual merit then. Thank you. Simon, I should say.
Okay, thank you. So any further questions? And we'll go to comments then, please. Councillor Lee Davis, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, it did come to scrutiny, and there was lots of challenge and lots of debate around it, which was really good. I would just like to thank Councillor Declan Salmon for heading up the Task and Finish group. The amount of work he put into it was phenomenal, so I'd just like to thank him on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Darren Roberts, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I'd like to congratulate Councillor Salmon and the team on bringing this forward. It's long overdue. I and other councillors are all fully aware that it's been an ongoing problem to deal with fly tipping on private land. I know Simon said that the devil is in the detail, but this is a major step forward, and I thoroughly look forward to seeing the results. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no further comments, Councillor Declan Salmon, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to thank Sarah King and Judith Jones for the work they've done on this report and in putting together the steering group. A lot of work has gone into everything, and also for the work they're going to continue to do, because this doesn't just stop here. We've got to continue making changes to everything to make sure that we eradicate fly tipping in Merthyr Tydfil and make it as difficult for fly tippers as possible. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We'll take that to the vote then, please.
Councillor Richards, are you for, against or abstaining?
For.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts, for, against or abstaining?
A definite for. Thank you.
Thank you. That's carried, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 15 is an information report only. Item 16, to deal with any other urgent business or correspondence. There's none. Item 17, to receive communications from the Worship the Mayor. I have none. Thank you. Meeting now moves to closed session. Please, can you confirm that we can now proceed?
If someone could move section 100.
Yeah, happy to move section 100, Madam Mayor.
And seconded.
And happy to second, Madam Mayor.
Lovely, thank you.
Back to the vote.
We'll take that to the vote then, please.
Councillor Richards, for, against or abstaining?
For.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts, for, against or abstaining?
4.
Thank you. So section 100 has been moved. So we'll just wait for them to vacate.
So we're going on to that. Yes, now. Councillor Clive Jones.
Might seem a daft question, particularly as the vent system is not working. But are we sure there's no